I'm sure you'd want me to thank the Minister for the clarity and incisiveness with which she responded to this report and for setting the scene so well for us today. Let's move quickly on to questions. Who would like to ask the first question? Gentleman here.
Thank you very much. First of all, on behalf of the family of the late Abdus
Could you say who you are, please, and use a microphone as well? Thank you.
So many things to do.
Sorry.
Okay. My name is Hashim Mohammed Ahmed. I'm the former General Manager of Sudan Railways and advisor to the Minister of Transport. I would like, on behalf of the family of Abdus Salam, the late Abdus Salam, who has been killed in a very sad situation, for paying tribute by Baroness Kinnock, and for bringing forward this issue of Abdus Salam by the Lord of Liverpool. I would like to thank you for this. Secondly, I would like to comment on the report. I think it's a very comprehensive, all-round, very practical report, and I think if it's given to the Baroness Kinnock, she will implement it according to the recommendations mentioned. I feel my question is that I am concerned about the unity of Sudan because I used to work as a railway engineer in a united Sudan, and I have the line extending down to Bahr al-Ghazal. The report says in the executive summary, in Southern Sudan votes for secession. The committee had a significant preparations on etc. This is not to prejudice the outcome of the referendum or to abandon the aim to make unity attractive. Can't the international community take part and be involved, in fact, not only involved, engaged seriously in making unity attractive, because we know the reasons why is it not attractive. We know the parties who are supposed to make unity attractive. So from the point of view of the international community being the grantor and friend of the Sudanese, all the stakeholders should come to, don't you think that should come together and try to solve this problem so that we guarantee Thank you very much.
Okay, I'll invite the Minister to respond to that, or Sarah, which...
I think the gentleman is asking whether we can help make unity attractive.
A lot of people argue, you know, that we should all be arguing for unity, but I think the reality is that in the CPA the option is clearly there. Nobody denies that the option in the CPA is for secession, independence, should that be the wish of the people. And I think what I continuously say is that whatever the results of that referendum, we have to respect it. We have to respect the will of the people as expressed in a referendum, whatever that happens to be. Many people will argue that the only option ought to be unity, but I think it's not for us to say, it's certainly not for a government minister to comment. We just want the whole process to be managed well, and that the people have a chance to have their wishes reflected fairly and freely.
Thank you very much. Let's go to the left side of the room now. Gentleman at the back.
Ian Woodward from the Diocese of Salisbury. Really to follow up on the Minister's point, I was in Juba and Wau on Tuesday, and the streets are full of pickup trucks with big megaphones, some electronic, some musical, and there is very definitely huge enthusiasm for the election process. And there's a great deal of expectation as well. And I think any support, pressure, activity, involvement that we can give to making sure that the elections, perhaps under the supervision of the EU and the Carter Centre, etc., that would, so that everybody recognises the results are fair and honest, would be really helpful, so there can be a true follow-up.
Thank you, Ian. That's helpful.
When I spoke to Veronique de Keyser, the chief observer, I mean, she was very clear. She said, I've spoken to all the players in Sudan, and I am saying I'm not here to make political judgments. My job is to judge the process of the election. So if anybody in any part of Sudan argues that it's some kind of manipulative event, it's not. She's very expert and she's very clear, and that's the message she delivered when she was in Sudan last week. that the process will be what she will be following. We've got the Carter Centre, there'll probably be African Union, there'll be quite a lot of observers, but of course a very big country. And there are issues on registration and so on which we would prefer to have been better. But I think we are where we are now, and so we just need to support those who are campaigning and working for an election which will have the credibility that the international community recognises, but most of all that the people of Sudan recognise as being credible.
Thank you, Dennis. We'll go to the other side of the room now, gentleman there, and then we'll come back to the centre.
Simon Harrigan, social anthropologist, mainly specialising in Sudan. Just two questions. Initially, there's the question of the fact that the EU monitors have come after the registration process, and if anything can be done to make sure retrospectively that the registration process was fair. Second question was to be sure. I think in the last few weeks it's been resolved, but I just wanted to check with the panel that whatever the result of this election, there won't be a majority that will be able to change the constitution and be able to go back on the CPA because a bloc would be allocated to the SPLM.
Thank you.
I've never had a question from a social anthropologist before.
We're all getting rather
My heart
intimidated.
sank. I was scared. I think that you're right. The registration process was somewhat flawed, and we in the UK have been pressing. I think the Carter Centre we were asking would they be able to do an audit, and I don't think that's going to be realistic at this stage that we're going to get any agreement on. Do you think so, Michael? Or?
Trying to do a very limited
audit, yeah, okay. So we have been pressing for that. And as far as, when I met Foreign Minister Dengalo in the African Union summit, he was saying, well, we're going to pull out because we're not going to have a proper distribution of seats in the assembly and so on. But now they've agreed that. They've got, they've argued it out, and so the likelihood of that kind of implosion is much less. You never know what's coming around the next corner. But I do feel that there is now a bit of a grip being taken on dealing with some of these technical issues, and I think when the EU mission goes in, they will assist with that, and they will assist with some of the limitations of the Electoral Commission, for instance, which are another issue of some concern. But that's the job they'll do, and they've got very good technical people doing those logistical things. So we just hope they can get around and do it.
We'll bring in other people from the panel later on, but I'm conscious of the fact we've only got the Minister for another 5 minutes. So, gentleman here.
Thanks very much. My name is Dr. Daniel. I'm the representative of government of Southern Sudan in UK. In the first place, I would like to thank the members of the APG for the comprehensive report they made and their keen interest in focusing on issues in Sudan, and in particular, the Southern Sudan. Well, my hearing is that you have been concentrating much on challenges which are still facing the Southern Sudan, and in most cases in the area of MCH, that is maternal child health and education. I have just had a quick look on the report, and I have seen that the multi-donor funds has not been delivered. It was supposed to be 524 million, and only 181 million has been received as part of improving the development in Southern Sudan. You would like to be reminded that Southern Sudan has no enough funds to build the infrastructure. And we depend very much on the multi-donor funds, which has not come. My reading is that if this money comes, I think we'll be able to improve on health and education. And in fact, you were talking about educating people in those areas. That money, if it comes, it can help in building the infrastructure as well as training the manpower. So I think we have a lot to do in that area. This money was supposed to be for 5 years. And until last year, we have only used 181. And as we are keen in helping the Southern Sudan, now and also after the post-referendum period, I think we have a chance to build on those areas which we have talked about. So I would like to reiterate, as the Minister goes to New York next week, I wanted to emphasize on delivering the remaining funds to Southern Sudan.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rafal. I mean, that was a key point, as you can imagine, throughout the taking of the evidence and indeed in our recommendations. So you've underlined a crucially important point.
And we raise continuously, and I have in a number of meetings that I've had, the very slow and unacceptable disbursement of the multi-donor fund, and I will be raising that.
We have a question now that's been streamed. What concrete actions, this is from Refugees International, should the international community take to ensure people in former SPLM-controlled parts of the three areas are protected in the event of southern independence? So the issue of security, Minister.
Well, that fits into the general concerns that we have to have I mean, the Baroness Cox is very well aware of the situation in those parts of Sudan, and we have to make sure that we do prioritise the security risks that they perceive they will face if there is independence in the south. It's one of the things, and I'm sure you could give a better answer than me, but it just seems to me that we will have to address those and keep them in our mind as a post-2011 set of issues that we're going to have to grapple with.
We've got time for one more comment before we then have a wider discussion after the Minister leaves us. And I think, as we've heard from the government of Southern Sudan, it's also right that we should hear from His Excellency Ambassador Siddiq, who's representing the government of Sudan today.
Thank you very much, Madam Minister. Thank you very much. I really liked your analysis. Accurate, as I can say. And I also like to thank the Associate All-Parliamentary Group on the Sudan for their engagement with the issue of the Sudan. I myself, as an ambassador, have been in continuous contact with them and continuous consultations with them. Even at the hearings, I was there. And I would also like to thank you for paying tribute to my national, Abdul Salam. It's really a great loss. And I personally will miss him a lot. And the activities he has been doing is of high caliber and high. So it's a great loss for that. And the report, I think, is timely. And rest assured that the recommendations will have very positive stance from the government. Whatever deals with the government will definitely try faithfully to implement it. We know we are passing through difficult times, lots of hiccups here and there, but with the resilience of the Sudanese, and Sarah says, at the last moment, we reach agreements. So this is the case.
Go to the wall every time.
No, it will not go to the wall this time. Yeah, and that's all. I don't have a question, but I want to commend you all and thank the audience who attended. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, I think we're all very grateful to you, sir, for that contribution, as we were throughout the proceedings, to representatives both from the North and South, for playing such a full part in helping us to produce this, as you say, timely report. Well, talking about timeliness, we've just passed 3 o'clock, and I do know that the Minister has to return. We're all incredibly indebted to you, Baroness, for being with us today. It's been very important to have you here. Thank you for being so frank and open in the way that you've dealt with the questions as well. So please put your hands together. Now again, we'll do some musical chairs, and I'll invite the Yellow Sandwich to rejoin us.